Hello everybody, Drifty here from Driftwood, and we're going to continue our Let's Make a Game series on the Dungeons of Driftwood. This is going to be episode number 2, and we're going to continue pretty much where we left off. I've only done a few things in between episodes. I did receive a request to make an item, an armor rather, from Sean Kirkbride, and he says that I should make a back armor that's a turtle shell. So here you go. We've got the first armor made called the Kirkbride shell, and it's a back type equipment armor, and it's basically a turtle shell that's going to give some defense. I might actually change one of the parameters to reduce physical damage taken. Let's see if we can do something like that. Physical damage times 99%. So what that's going to do is reduce the damage taken by 1% approximately. So instead of, because if you were to add physical damage times 100%, it would do nothing because physical damage taken is already times 100%. So instead of, some people might think, and I did when I first started, you would change this number to 1% if you want to reduce it by 1%. But what that's going to do is reduce it by 99%. So in order to reduce damage taken by 1%, you just multiply it by a number less than 100%. So 99 should do that. So I'll probably adjust all the descriptions, but I'll keep a shout out in this for if you have an idea for an item you want to see made in the game, or a piece of armor or something like that. I'm sure I could throw a bunch of stuff in here for you guys. So there you go, Sean. I also received another comment on renaming types. Somebody didn't like the name Knuckles and they wanted gauntlets, so we renamed those to gauntlets. And so we did that. In this episode, I kind of want to start adding the plugins that I'm going to be using. So let's bring this tab over here. Let's go to Yanfly. Actually, I have it right there. Okay, so we got the core engine in. This is a nice guide if you guys want to check that out later. Base parameter control. Probably add something like this in here. And once again, I'm going to be adding plugins one at a time in this project, and going over the parameters and learning that plugin and setting it up how I want prior to building any of my critical systems. That way I know I won't be breaking anything. I'll be testing it as I design it. So a lot of using plugins is learning how to use them. And just by installing this plugin, some of the parameters may have been changed. But they're probably close to the default, if not optimized better, knowing Yanfly. So just by installing this plugin, we're changing a little bit about how the parameters work. Okay, so we're going to keep all of these default for now, and if I feel like I need to change the way something works, I can just adjust it here. Really neat. And there's no systems currently in place to deal with parameters, so there's no bug testing involved with that. So let's go ahead and move on. Not sure if we're going to be using this one, because like I said, there's going to be just the survival. Oh yeah, that brings me to another thing. Somebody asked me to rename the survivalist to just simply the survivor. so I did that as well. That makes more sense actually, and sometimes shorter is better. So Survivor, simple like that. So that plugin is going to let me customize how certain classes will progress and their stat progression. And this is one of these plug and play plugins, but it's revolved around note tags. So if I want to adjust some of the parameters for the class, I would just use these note tags, custom class parameters, and then I would set the growth rate that I want. Which is a great idea, and matter of fact, I think we're going to just start with this. I really like this idea. This will let me basically ignore the rank C, rank B, rank A, and build my own formulas, which I really like that. So let's go ahead and copy this default setup here. And then of course we have some lunatic mode basically in here. Awesome. We won't be doing lunatic mode for this because I have an idea of how I want to do this. So we'll go to this class, and I believe we would just put it in here. And we're not going to use the default settings here. But what we're going to do for max HP, it's going to probably be, I would say 20 HP per level. So if they go to level 10, they'll have 200 HP. Level 100, they'll be at 2000. Let's do 50 HP per level. That makes more sense. Level 10, they'll have 500. Level 20, they'll have 1000. So we'll go max HP equals level times 50 with no additional thing. And for MP, we'll do 10 so that the resource is useful, and you have to think about where you spend your MP. This is a cool plugin. I never got to use a lot of the newer plugins that Yanfly put out because the project, the previous project, was so bloated already. Let's go. ATK is level times. I kind of want a static growth rate because I'm gonna have a ton of equipment, right? So there's going to be plenty of other ways to increase your character's stats with all of the equipment slots available, and also skills may even increase stat growth or something like that. Or maybe not the growth, because then it'll be sort of like espers, and then people will, too many min-maxing things would hinder you from using better skills because of growth rates. So we won't do that, but what we'll do is have just a set amount that certain skills give you. Like in Final Fantasy XI, the Blue Mage has certain skills, like when you set those skills, those spells, you basically get an inherent bonus. So I'll probably do something like that eventually, but for now we're gonna make it really what do you call it, like an even playing board, so that all stats are going to have a small growth rate. Yeah, so if you fight something your level, you'll get 100 experience per for that, for each. Let me see, no, because it wouldn't be something your level, it'd be the thing you're fighting's level times 100. So if you fight a level 1 enemy, it'll give you 100 experience. If you're fighting a level 20 enemy, it'll give you 2000 experience. That makes sense. We'll go with that. We'll adjust that if we need to. We could always adjust how much experience the player needs to level. Or maybe this is how much you need to level. So at level 1, you'll need 100 to level. Level 2, you need 200 to level. Yeah, I think that's what it does. But we'll have to test some things out. Awesome. Even though some of these plugins have been out for, you know, a few weeks or something, I haven't got to really learn and play with all these new plugins, so this is kind of really cool for me. So I like this basic progression. Every level they'll get 50 HP, 10 MP, and 5 to each stat. And then if they want to customize their character to be more of a fighter, they'll just wear a gear that gives strength instead of like a magic attack or something. Yeah. And I'll probably adopt the same scheme that I used in my last project. for the naming scheme. So let's go to the was it terms? I think it was terms. Yeah. So for attack, I went with strength. Defense, I went with vitality. Magic attack, I went with wisdom. Magic defense, I went willpower. Agility, I think I set it to speed. Luck, I kept the same, but we'll change this one to chance. Hit rate, I'm going to call this accuracy. Evasion rate, I like evasion. Evasion seems a good name. Attack, guard, that makes sense. Defend. We'll go with defend. Defend, guard. I think guard is a better term. See, I'm not renaming just for the sake of renaming. I kind of want to go with what I think sounds better. Skill, equip, status, formation. See, this is always something that that I found weird. Like game end, why wouldn't it just be end game, right? But army key items. Continue. Load. Exit. Or end. Exit. Sounds fine. Cancel. Call it back. Okay. That'll work fine. Let's go back to adding in our plugins. Class change core. I'm going to skip it on this one. Also the subclass. Might add them later on. I probably won't though. I think I'll let the player build their own class and just have some way to rename the class, you know what I mean? And the class will be like the title or something like that. Extra parameter formulas. Sure. This is similar to the base parameter control, but for the extra params. Hit rate, evasion, critical evasion, magic evasion. I think that's critical evasion. Yeah, critical evasion. Magic reflect, counterattack. Is that right? Yeah, counterattack. I like how it's so easily named and or appropriate or reference. I like how what it is referenced. HP regeneration, magic regeneration, TP regeneration. I might adjust the regeneration rates actually, but I'm going to start off by adding items that add passive regeneration and see how that works, and then if I feel like I need to adjust it, I will use this plugin mainly for the HP, MP, TP regen setup. Main menu manager, definitely want this one. Used this plugin for a while, really like this plugin. So for right now, we don't have any systems to reference, you know, common events to call. So I won't need to change anything right now, but when I create a new system like a exit dungeon or warp out or something like that where the player can instantly leave the dungeon or access a menu, I'll be able to use this so that the player has an option just to select right on the main menu. So we don't need to change anything yet because we don't have any systems to reference, but I will be using the main menu manager for sure. Message core, yes. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Now, I could have very easily copy-pasted my JS folder from one game to another, but I'm not trying to create the same game, you know, so... Or I could have changed my default game that starts the new game with all the plugins, but then you're going to fall into the trap where all your games seem like that, you know, until you edit them. Starting with a fresh project is a good idea because you're going to have a level of customization in every one of them. Building them from the ground up is often the best idea. You'll end up with a better result in the end instead of like clones of each of your games. And just putting this plugin in optimizes so many things, but I'm also going to use this to change the font, probably. You could do that in the core engine, but this gives options to use all of these codes to change the way the text will display. And some of them I have memorized, and some of them I have to keep referencing to remember how they're spelled, syntax. Syntax is always a thing I struggle with. Sometimes I'll be writing a few lines of code, and I'm like, I know that there's a line of code that looks something like this, and it's supposed to do, you know, said thing. But I can't remember, was the parentheses here? You know, was this letter capitalized? You know, so I have issue with that. A lot of us do, I think. Extended message pack. This will let us move the windows around, I believe. It's what this one does. Oh, also adds the typing sound. And you could always see which plugins are dependent on other plugins if you're using Yanflies, because he always puts an X at the beginning. So this extended message pack plugin would not work if you don't have the message core. The class base parameters would not work if you don't have the base parameter control. So, you know, they're all dependent on one another when they have the X. Message macros, maybe I'll do that later on. I don't think I'll need it right now. Special parameter formula. Similar to the extra parameter plugin. Target rate, guard rate, recover formula, pharmaceutical use or pharmacology, MP cost rate, TP cost rate, physical damage. Is this resist damage taken? Yeah, physical damage taken, magic damage resist. This is floor damage and experience rate. Yeah. We might adjust the experience rate on this one. Oh, does this also change the calculation for when you're guarding? I haven't. Sorry about that. I don't know if I've used this in the last project. We'll have to see how guard damage is calculated. Sometimes I found it odd in the default, so maybe that'll work. Reserve experience rate. Calculation used for reserve party experience. If enabled in the database systems, this is a formula. So 1 for 1, basically. Oh, okay, I get it. So if I wanted to have the people that are, say you have a max party member of 5 members, and you have 6 party members in the party. The 6th party member, do you want them to gain experience even though they weren't in the fight? If so, you have to enable it in your database under systems. But if it is enabled, you can customize with this plugin how much experience. Like, well, they weren't in the fight, so they shouldn't get full amount of experience, right? So we could probably go like 0.5. So if the party were to gain 1,000 experience, the person who didn't participate would still get some experience, but only half of the experience. So that's how that would work. But this won't matter for me because it's gonna, like I said at the beginning, this is gonna be one party member that you customize with like lots of custom features and a randomization. So that'll let me do a lot of different things. That would be kind of overly complicated with like a big cast of party members. And this is a cool program, the auto update. I just do them all manually because I just check daily or every other day for Yanfly's website. Battle Engine Core, we are definitely grabbing this. I'm not 100% set on the combat system. I really like the CTB, but I did use that in my last project, so I'm thinking about maybe not using it, but I'm still debating on what I should do. Let me know what kind of battle systems you guys would like to see in this. I'm leaning towards the CTB, conditional turn battle system. I do want to add one thing though, so let's open up this project. Legends of Driftwood JS plugins, and we're going to add this plugin right here. And this doesn't do anything. This just helps me organize things better with that. That's all it does. It's just like, you can just turn it off, and so I can separate like you know, core plugins, battle functioning plugins, utility plugins. It just helps me separate things, and I like that. I'm surprised that he doesn't have the link to this one on his plugins page. You should add it, Yanfly. It's a good idea because people like it just for organization. I know Flying Dream mentioned something in one of his videos like, that's not a plugin. Well, yeah, but it still helps. You know, the idea is to help. Let's go back. Okay, I need to add the Battle Core engine, or Battle Engine Core, rather. And just by putting this in, you're optimizing your game a lot. It's something you want to have for sure. And I'll go in here and change some of the settings, but right now there's no need to adjust anything. Escape ratio, something I definitely want to change too. How easy it is for the party to get away. I kind of want it to be the party can escape easily when they need to, so you know, you may not always be able to beat the enemy you encounter, and you should be able to get away. Sometimes you have to run. So I believe that if I increase this number, the chance of the party members getting away goes up. So I'm going to go 0.8 times the party's average agility versus, or divided by the enemy's average agility. So this will be on this multiplication. Yeah, I don't need to put parentheses on that. I think it'll read it. Yeah, because it's going to do this number as 1. It's going to take that, and then it's going to multiply that by 0.8. If I wanted to make sure it would work, I could go like this. And then for sure it'll calculate, then it would calculate these two and then divide it by that. But let's see how it goes, and if I need to put parentheses in a certain spot to manipulate it, I will. Fail escape boost. So every time that they fail to leave, it adds this number, so we're going to double that. So if you try to get away and you can't, it's going to double it. Awesome. And also by now, you know, like 6 months after the engine's been out, most of these plugins are like super optimized and like running smoother than they ever have. Lots of all the bugs have been worked out, and so it's kind of cool if you start working day one with any any sort of editor, you're gonna have lots of bugs that need, like, you know, the kinks worked out. And then as it gets farther along, everybody has come across the problems, and certain issues would be resolved. So you're not going to have issues that you had, you know, several months ago because they've been patched out. Action sequences, absolutely. I'm actually going to take some of the action sequences that I designed for other games and maybe change the animation they use, and then use those action sequences, because, you know, put a lot of time into something, and I don't want to copy paste too much, but there's going to be some overlap of referencing other things that I've done for sure. And the help file on this is just crazy. It's so large, which you sort of need a large help file, and I'm glad that there's all of this information included. But you can do so many things with an action sequence. It's incredible. If you've never tried to design an action sequence, give it a shot. It seems a little bit overwhelming at the beginning, but what helps is looking at some action sequence examples. Like, scroll down and you'll see, here's an example. Okay, you'll see action animation. So this is the syntax, right? You would say animation, and then you give it some parameters. You say on the user, and you flip that image. So look at the examples, and that'll help you figure out what to type inside the note tags of your skills and stuff. We're going to grab all three of the action sequence packs because they go hand in hand. The first one is like core functions and controlling switches and variables and animations and stuff like that. And action sequence pack 2 is, I think that's more like movements and moving battlers and the characters around. And then I know 3 is the camera, is manipulating the camera. Yeah, visual functions. And then here's all the additional documentation, so you don't have to keep opening and closing the help file. I actually just copy pasted the help file to a text file, and then I had it up on the other monitor so that I could read it while I was editing. But someone's already done that for you, so. Animated side view enemies. For sure we're getting that too. This is going to let us use all of Akashic's battlers. So you want this plugin if you want to have like animated battlers and stuff, and it's really awesome. I definitely recommend getting this. And then of course you have some freebies that Yanfly's made too, and Yanfly's linked from other people he's worked with. He's updated this since I last checked it, I think. There's more references and it's easier to read. Killer plugin. Highly recommended. ATB, once again, I'm not sure if we're going to do CTB or ATB or default. I'm leaning towards CTB just because I like how it functions and the speed of the combat and the flow. Hopefully I'll be able to change enough things about it. Yeah, for now we're going to just go ahead and go with CTB. This is my preferred combat system. Also, we need to go into the Battle Engine core and specify the default system when you add this plugin. So you have to go to the Battle Engine core here on the parameter default system and change the DTB to CTB. That way the game knows to look for that plugin to run the battle function. Counter control, I like this idea of how you can manipulate counter attacks and have a certain amounts of counter. I think, yeah, we'll probably add this because I didn't mess with it too much, and I'd like to learn how to do some of these things. This will give me plenty of reading to do off camera. Okay. Yeah, so I'll figure this plugin out and how to add skills that will only counter certain types of skills and stuff like that. But it'll usually take me several minutes of just reading, and that'll just be sort of silence. So I'll do that off camera, but I am going to add some sort of counter manipulation in the game. So, and I know I'm going to need that eventually, so I'm adding it now. Oh, we want HP gauges. Absolutely. There's nothing more frustrating than hitting an enemy over and over and over, and you don't know if you're even scratching the surface on how much HP they actually have. I mean, if it's a long battle, but you see their bar ticking down, at least you have a sense of, okay, it's going to take me approximately 10 turns to beat this or whatever. But not knowing and just continuing to hit, you're like, does this thing ever die? You know, and just showing the HP gauge is going to, I think, improve the quality of life for your player. And we're going to change the colors too, but I got to change the system PNG that selects all the colors before I start manipulating and fine-tuning what colors I want for everything. Absorption barrier, I used this in my last project. I thought it was a cool function, a cool little feature. I might add it later on, and I know how it works, so it won't be too big of a deal. But I'm going to not use it from the beginning, because there's so many other things just dealing with actual HP, not adding another like downtime, another bar. So I might add absorption barrier later, but not yet. Battle AI core. I used this in one or two of my boss battles. One was for part of a card battle system that didn't quite make it to the end of the project, and then the other was for the first boss battle that was optional. I had to figure out a way to like program when he would summon his henchman again, instead of just randomly summoning him. So I used this on one of the battles, but I wonder if it does anything else besides, does it do any optimization if you're not note tagging? That's what I want to check really quick. Is it like optimizing some sort of AI without having to note tag, or is it only changing the battle if you're note tagging? It might do some sort of optimization just having it on. So we'll keep it on, but I don't plan to do any note tagging for boss battles. Unless there's a certain... I want to have it though, just in case there's a certain boss. I'm like, hey, I want this to happen every time at this point. So I'll be able to program that in if needed. Battle status window. Yes. Really like that. This just basically adds the face graphic at the bottom and adds some icons and makes it look better. You'd be surprised what simple icons can, how it can change the feel of the game. I highly recommend that one too. Buffs and States Core, you'd be a fool not to use this plugin. So much power in this plugin right here. If you're only using 5 to 10 plugins in your game, this should be one of them. I mean, the help file keeps getting longer, but that's a good thing. So many things that I wanted to do in VX and previous engines, with this plugin you can do in MV. Just so many options, like to make a skill that adds a state that every time something happens, the state does this certain thing, but it has a different conditional that when they heal, it does that, and if they use this skill, it can do that, and just like you can make one skill really dynamic with the buff states core. State categories. I think I mentioned something to Yanfly about that. I'm gonna watch that video afterwards. That I think I've seen it before, but I haven't watched it in a while. I think this plugin was added because if it wasn't just me who had this issue, I'm sure there was other people who found this issue where, like, you would have like a buff effect on, and then you would like do a full recover, but it would wipe all your buffs. So, and if you created a passive state that wasn't locked as a passive state, it would wipe the passive state. So, this categories plugin, the state categories, if I can find it, state categories, lets you decide what's a debuff and what's a buff. And that'll let you change it so that, like, when you die or when you do a recover all, it doesn't take off your buffs, you know. Or like, say when you die it would take off your buffs, but like say you do a recover all, it wouldn't take off the positive effects that you have on. It would just remove like blind and your silence and stuff like that. Yeah, so this is all revolved around note tagging. So we'll just create a category, and then the category will be bypass recover all removal. So like if I have a bonus that increases your attack, your strength, your attack power by 10%, and it lasts 50 turns because it's a food effect or something, then when you recover all, you can get your HP back, but you don't lose your buff. So that's why you'd want to do something like this. Definitely going to use that. Tick-based regeneration. I think I was using this and then I turned it off because I already had a system set up that worked without it. We're going to add it, and I'm going to turn it off for right now, and then if I notice regeneration isn't working like I want it to, I'll try to turn this plugin on and see if that just fixes the regeneration thing. Actually, I'll just leave it on, and if it doesn't work like I want, I'll turn it off or adjust some things. Because this is plug and play. This is not going to require any note tags. This just changes the way it counts the frames. Damage core, absolutely. This is gonna let me make the skills that I had in my head when I thought of this game. This will also let you create caps on how much damage a skill can use, or a skill can do, the damage cap on how much a character can do, a class can do, how much maximum healing that they can do, and create items that can break those caps. So this adds another layer. Also, just by going through all of the steps, you can there's a lot of things that you don't want to mess with in these steps, but if you know what you're doing, and with some trial and error, you can create some crazy functions with the damage core. But it's not the easiest thing to learn how to do with the damage core. But it has simple features like the caps and some of the note tags that it lets you use, like bypass the damage cap, or set the damage cap or the heal cap. So it can be a simple plugin that you want to add, but it can also be a really complicated plugin that can change the way that the numbers work in the game, which is really cool. Lots of power in the damage core. Armor scaling, I used this in my last project, and I liked how it changed the numbers around a lot. Not sure if I'm going to use this in this game, because I have a specific way of how I'm going to make damage work. It's going to be, all of the damage will be based off of skill levels, so that's another reason why I wanted one character. That's going to let me have custom skill levels for like 20 plus skills, so all of those skills will be based on variables in there's some plugins I want so that the player can see those variables and increase them as they progress their character. So I may not use armor scaling. Matter of fact, I'm going to add it and turn it off for now. But I'm also going to test the game with it on and see how it affects things. This is a expansion, yeah. You need the damage core to use the armor scaling. And then there's also a calculator that Flying Dreams put together. Critical control. Good plugin to have. If you want to design like a rogue type character, or even just control the rate and finite control on how often you're going to get critical hits, how strong they are when you get the critical hits. You're going to have to do note tags for, I mean, it has some base parameters that change the way it works. Works better with it. But you'll have to do note tagging. So you'll have to set the critical rate on your skills and everything like that, and the multiplier and everything, which is cool because you can create 2 daggers that have the same attack power, but one costs more. Well, why does that one cost more, or why is that one harder to get? Because its critical chance is higher. It can get more crits than the other dagger, you know. So that gives you another little bit of functionality that you can distinguish 2 weapons from another, besides just how strong it is, you know. Do you want a weapon that does more damage, or do you want a weapon that critical hits more often? So we're definitely going to use that. So let's go ahead and check the next one. Extra enemy drops. I designed a system that would let me mimic this, but not even nearly as well as how the plugin works. So we're just going to use the plugin. And this one's easy to use. You just set the plugins on the enemy, and you just go enemy drops. You type the name you want and the chance it has to drop, and you can just make a big list of things it can drop. That you want that, especially if you have a lot of items in your game, because you're only limited. You're limited to, if you go to your enemies, you'll see, oh, you can drop this, that, or that, and that's it. Like, what if you have, you know, 1,000 items in your game? You want it to have like a 1% chance to drop this rare item, a 1% chance to drop that rare item, and then guaranteed for this one, and like, you know, a possible 10 drops. So you would just, you know, use note tags, enemy drops. And put all of them in there. Yeah, I'm not sure that it has to be capital, but I would follow the format. Force advantage. I didn't use this plugin in the last projects. I think this is one of the newer ones. That's gonna let you. I'm assuming that it lets you control if you get a back attack or, you know, preemptive or something. I'm gonna put it in here just so that I can learn how to use it. It's a really small one, so this should be easy to do. This is kind of cool because if you're not using random encounters, then you can put these right in the event that controls the battle, that starts the battle, and so you can have conditions. If character facing this direction, enemy facing this direction, then force advantage, first strike. You know, so this is kind of cool to use that. Hit accuracy. I do want more control over accuracy in the game. Skill hit rate times user hit rate minus target evade rate. Cool. Another plug and play. Awesome. That's just another way to optimize. When you put in your numbers, are they actually 90% or are they actually like 87.953? You know what I mean? This is going to let you have that control over it. Lifesteal, I'd like this one, this mechanic. In Chapter 2 of The Legend of Driftwood, I was working on a vampire class, but I ended up not adding that content to the demo. Mainly because plugins were breaking on me, and but that gives me a chance to use some of the maps that NoobKX made for me in this project here. So I'll probably do that. Some of the maps he made for the last project I'll use in this project that didn't make it to the demo, you know. Target core, yeah, I like this plugin. I believe with this plugin, you can have it so that one skill can either target, you can make one skill malleable so that it can be a single target or a multi-target skill. I'll have to read some more in the help file to figure out how to do that, but I believe that this is the plugin that lets you do that. I think this isn't this an extension plugin for the row area of effect one? Like if I'm not using row formation plugin, will this one still work? Let's just check if it has the X in front of it. Yeah, see, area of effect is an extension plugin. It might be an extension to the target core. I'm actually pretty sure it is a target core extension plugin. I think I'm going to turn this one off for now, and if I feel like it's needed, it probably won't be needed for a while, if at all, so that might be a plugin I don't use, but I'll have it in there. Selection control. Oh no, this was the plugin that lets you AoE certain skills, like turn one skill so that you can cure your enemy or attack your ally if needed, you know, to break their confusion or something. I want to get this one. I didn't use it in my last project, but I want to get it for this one. So it's part of the target core, I believe. Wait, what's the name of it? Derp. Selection control. Okay. There it is. Yeah, I definitely want that. Let's do a quick savey davy. We're getting through these plugins here. Taunt, awesome feature to have. I don't think I'll mess with it for this game, because you're gonna have one party member, right? So unless I want to make a boss taunt, I could add it later for that, but I'm gonna skip it on this one. Victory Aftermath, yeah, we want that for sure. I like the extra. I don't like having a ton of windows, but I like an extra window that shows, you know, what you've your progress on the character and what you gained for the battle and spoils of war. Where's it at? Victory Aftermath. There we go. And then the Aftermath level up where it should. I have this in my last project and I like it. I like having it. You can see what has changed, but I might end up removing this because the way that I have this particular game set up, it's static, right? You're going to get 5 to all your stats, 50 HP, 10 MP, and the skills you're not going to get from leveling up. I'm going to show you how we're going to do the skill system later on in another episode. It's going to be Mega Man style skill system. You have to kill enemies to get skills. Interesting idea. That I remember I was laying in bed and I woke up, but I still hadn't got out of bed, and I was thinking. The first thing I thought in the morning was how I was going to design the skill system. So, yeah, I like the idea of that. It's like a Mega Man style skill system. So, I think, yeah, we might as well put it in. And then if I start doing some test plays and I feel like it's not necessary, I'll just remove it, the extra menu. Wait, what was the name of it? Man, I'm derping. Aftermath level up. Is that an extension? I think so. All right, so these are all battle, right? All battle, yeah, battle plugins. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another divider for the next set of item plugins. We'll just copy that, paste it down here, apply that. Item core, most definitely. Almost anything that says core, I want in the game. For Yanflies, anyway. I did want to change something in here, the random variance. I want it to be less, of course we're going to have more random aspects of the game, but the stats, the individual stats, I was going to tone that down a bit to 3. Also, not allowing not allowing the negative variance to go below 0. So, oh no, wait, I did that in my last game, to where if you have an item that has like 5 attack and then it has a variance of 10, it can't go -5 to 15. It would just go 0 to 15. But in this, I want to allow that. So some items will have negative stats. So like, say if it's got a super high attack, but then it's got like -5 agility on it, you have to decide, do you want extra turns, extra rounds, or more damage per hit. So we're going to allow that, but it's also less of a random variance number. Max weapons, we're going to increase this to 300 for now. Max armor's 300 because I'm going to have non-independent items that I mean, you have a lot of gear. You're going to have a lot of gear, right? Because you have like 15 different slots that you can have. Maximum icons, we're going to say 8 so that we can have room. Because there's room for it, so why not allow them? Independent items, mid-game parsing. Oh, there was, when this plugin first came out, there was some bugs to where save games had issues with using this plugin. Like if you were loaded a game, it would crash at certain reasons because the items weren't parsed, because it only did it at the beginning. But you can turn this to true if you're gonna test with loading games, but it's default to false. Because when you parse mid game, I think it slows it down, slows the game down. So. Okay, we've got quite a few plugins to add still. Let's blaze through them real quick. So I want to get all the plugin adding kind of done in one episode. So let's add attachable augments. I've used this one before. Oh no, I haven't used this one. I've used the other one. So this is like your materia type system, which I wanted to test, but I thought I had too many things going on in the last project. So now that I've got a fresh, clean slate, I'm going to test this plugin out and probably use it. Man, just finding it. Attachable augments. Is that a extension? Yeah, it's an item core extension, obviously, right? There it is. All right. Item disassemble. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and use this one. I started using a different disassemble system in the last project, and you may see I need to update some of the names in the last project, Legend of Driftwood, because they say can be disassembled, but they can't. That was because I was using a different plugin before. Yanfly made an item disassemble plugin, and I was going to redesign it, and I ended up just taking out the old system and not adding the new one. So we're going to use the new Yanfly system for item disassemble and this one. That way, if you get a piece of gear that is junk and you want to disable it, I'm sorry, not disable it. What am I doing? I'm derping. If you want to disassemble it for parts, you can use those parts for another weapon that you're working on. Item durability. Some people really despise durability. If you do it right, it's not a bad thing. You know, having another aspect that the player has to work around, getting this amazing item, and it makes all the other items useless. Well, if that item has a limited durability, then it's still your other items. You may not want to toss them out, you know, or disassemble them. So I'm going to make durability in this game, but I'm going to make how fast it wears off really slow. So it takes a lot to beat down weapons and armors. And I might actually, what do you call it? Disable this plugin. For right now, we're going to turn it off, but I feel like it's kind of a cool function to have, but it may not be necessary. So I'm going to have it in here, but I'm going to turn it off for now. Item upgrade slots, I really like this. And then there's a document that you can, a PDF that's online, or a Google document that has all of the commands you can use for this plugin. Basically lets you enchant or craft items that have all kinds of functionality to them. Item synthesis, I really like this crafting plugin. We're gonna have that as well. Is that a standalone? It is. It's a standalone. Item synthesis. Shop menu core. Love this plugin because without it, some of the shops, like, I don't know what they were thinking when they designed them with that GUI, because like if the item has like more than, I don't know how many characters, but so many digits, it starts cutting into the cost of the item, and you can't even read it, and it just looks kind of like really amateur when you don't have this plugin, if you have long item names. Highly recommend getting this plugin, even for that one feature. But it does a ton of other stuff too. More currencies, definitely going to have that. We're going to have currencies for basically monster essences. Remember I was talking about the Mega Man style skill learning system? You're going to have to like slay monsters and take their power, and all of their essences are going to be a form of currency, so that's what we're going to use with that. Alright, so we're going to do another divider since we're moving on to the skill plugins. Let's copy this, paste this here. Now we're moving on to the skill core, and this is also one of the most vital plugins that I'm gonna need in this project, the skill core. It's just like the buff states core. The possibilities are near endless with what you can do with the skill core, especially when combined with the buff states core. I believe this is the plugin that lets you it adds a lot of note tag functionality. Yeah. With the skill learning system in particular too, and lunatic mode. But we're not going to use the skill learning system like we did in the last project. It's going to be a different method of learning skills. It's going to be more common evented than using a plugin for it, because it's going to be more customized for the Mega Man style skill learning system that I have. Limited skill uses, I sort of want to put this in, but I haven't thought of like a practical need for this plugin in this project. But I may design items that you have to do like a full recover all to be able to use them again, so that when you start the dungeon, yeah, we're gonna use this one. So when you start the dungeon, if you find this item, you can only use it once per your entire trip in the dungeon. You know, you may want to save it for the boss, or you may want to use it on a tough fight. And it could be like an item that you can equip and then change it after the battle. So it'll give certain items use even if they're not equipped at all times. So yeah, we're gonna add the limited skill uses. Party limit gauge. It's kind of cool. It reminds me of Final Fantasy XIV, but I don't think we're going to use it in this because it's going to be one member. So, skill cooldowns. This would be useful if you're going to have certain skills that you can only that are so powerful you don't want them just to spam that skill over and over. Actually, I probably want to use this one because of that. Since there's a lot of random aspects, the player may get a really powerful skill, and in order to compensate and make it so that it's not overpowered and just spammed, we may need to put a cooldown on it. So for balancing, this is a good plugin. Skills cost items. This will be later on towards the middle of the game that I need this plugin, but there will be some items like throwing items, you know, like shuriken, that you would need to consume, you know, the shuriken to use or something. So for ninja type skills, we'll probably need this one, so we'll add that extension plugin as well. This is the plugin that I used for Lydia's mixing. Instant cast, this is a cool little plugin. Lets you not use your turn for a skill. Like sometimes it's just like, only thing this plugin will do is like remove poison, but you don't want to spend your whole turn just to remove your poison. You're still on top of consuming your MP or TP or whatever. So this will let you use skills that have a high cost, but they don't consume your turn. So I like having this plugin as well. And it's easy to use too. I like it because you just put like instant on the note tag, you know, and for the skill, instant. It's also standalone. Instant item, instant skill, instant cast, or even just instant works too. You can even run code. I never really messed with it for running code for this one, but you can. Oh yeah, and you can specify an icon so that it'll put a little icon on top of the icon in one of the corners to let the player know that this is an instant cast skill. And it's off by default, but you can add it. Matter of fact, let's do that really quickly. Let's go to our items and just check an icon. What do we want to make? I think this is the one that Yanfly uses, this lightning bolt, to let you know that it's an instant cast. We might go with that. It's the most practical. It's in the top right corner. It's like out of the way. It's not blocking the other icon. And it makes sense, right? Lightning is fast. And I'm not trying to change things just to change it. So we might go with that, but if I see something that could work similar, I like this one, like a wing, but it's too big. I don't want it to block everything. The lightning bolt honestly makes the most sense. That makes the most sense for instant. There's plenty that work, but this one's out of the way. We're gonna go with that one. So this is icon number 126, and you can see in the bottom left corner what number it is. So we're gonna change that 0 to a 126. And the parameters. Skill learn system, you know, I really like this plugin, and I used it, and it was a core feature of the last plugin, the last game I made, that lets you adjust your parameters based on job points. But I don't want to just copy the same system I made, and I don't have anything on the top of my head. I might add it later, but probably not, so we're not going to add it this time. Moving on to equip cores. We're getting there, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh my god, so many plugins, so many plugins. You know what? We're actually going to have to do another episode. I've already pushed this one over the hour by almost 15 minutes. So that's going to do it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to continue to add the rest of the plugins that we plan on using and turning off the ones that are not in use yet. And then we're going to go through and optimize and start adding some skills, start adding some of the states that we're going to be using, lots of other stuff. I mean, there's so many things to do that we still haven't done. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being awesome. Continue to make your special requests in the comments below. If you have any ideas that you would like to see in this project, let me know what your ideas are. You can see that I've already added a couple of comments that I got. If you have an item that you want named after you, just give me an idea of how you want it to work, and then I might manipulate it a little bit so that it works in the game. But I don't mind giving you guys credit, the viewers. You guys are great, and I make these games for intrinsic motivations that I have because I like to do it, but I also make it because you guys seem to enjoy it too. So let me know what you'd like to see in these projects. If you have anything that you would any systems, mainly. Give me here some interesting ideas for your systems. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys once again for watching. We'll see you in the next episode of Let's Make a Game.